Hello, everybody. It is another episode of KB's Unemployed Show, and we're going to have some fun today. We're going to celebrate National Grape Popsicle Day. Big fan of the popsicle. We're going to talk a little bit of sports. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to talk a little bit of sports. I've got a great 420 What Are You High, and talk a little bit about Memorial Day. And the greatest thing about Memorial Day is great war movies. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's going to be a great show, and it all starts right after this.
It's KB's Unemployed Sheet. He's unemployed and didn't know what to do, so he started a shade. Lots of boss stuff to kill time. He didn't know what to call it, so he called it KB's Unemployed Show.
Yes, indeed. That's what I call the KB's Unemployed Show, but that will be changing. It is 169 days unemployed. Now, I know yesterday I had to rerun an episode because I was working. So theoretically, I'm not unemployed, but I'm not employed full time. I'm a semi-retired employed, having fun employed. I think some people think that it's not a job unless you're miserable. And I'm telling you, I'm driving around out at Erin Hills yesterday, and I was rangering, wearing an awful lot of sunscreen, by the way, because it was quite warm out there. But damn, my job is driving a golf cart, for God's sakes, at a U.S. Open course. It doesn't get any better than that. It was simply gorgeous out there. Get to meet a lot of people. You know, people who know me say, you talk to strangers? Yeah, man, it's great. Meet an awful lot of people out there. You get to talk about an awful lot of things. I couldn't be happier. And we're going to keep this going, though. Like I said, 169 days on unemployment, 14 days until Liberation Day. There is a new show coming up. Exact start date looking like June 18th. But there will be more information to follow as we get closer. But it looks like June 18th is going to be the start date, which coincides with, I think that's the opening day of Summerfest. Yeah. Anyway, you'll get the whole rundown before that. I will spill some tea. But it is National Grape Popsicle Day, so I'd like to celebrate the people who love the popsicle. I had sherbet the other day, and I had a craving for that. And it was pretty damn good. The popsicle, though, I am a big fan of the popsicle. For those of you out there, and that is most of you who listen to 97 The Game, you know that that Armin was absolutely crazy over the Bomb Pop, which is fine. I don't know if it's a frozen ice treat. Does it count as a popsicle with the multiple flavors? I'm not exactly sure if it counts as a popsicle. But if I were to rank my top popsicle flavors, I do like the flavor of the Bomb Pop. So Bomb Pop's coming in at 5 for me. Coming in at 4 is orange, the orange popsicle. If I'm going to go with a citrus flavor of a popsicle, I'm going orange over lime. Although I don't mind lime, I prefer lime confectionery products to actual limes. But lime does not make my top 5. Now, coming in at number 3, both of my 3 and my number 1 are very, very difficult to find. I don't know where to find them, and I've looked for them, but they're difficult to find. Coming in at number 3 is the root beer popsicle. The root beer popsicle is an underrated popsicle, without a doubt. I think root beer. I've been drinking I've been enjoying the beverage, root beer beverage. I think that A&W Diet Root Beer is the best diet soda out there. But root beer is coming in at number 3. At number 2, of course, is what everyone does when they open the box of popsicles. What do? Give me a red one. Give me a red one. The cherry popsicle is at number 2. And at number 1, any guesses? Any guesses? Banana. The banana popsicle. I have said this on more than one occasion, and I think many people will concur that artificial banana flavoring is actually better than actual bananas. So the actual live, put a banana in your mouth to taste the banana flavoring, taste the banana flavor. The artificial one is better. Now, someone had reached out and contacted me after hearing me say that, and they said it's because the flavor profile is from some sort of an extinct banana that they can't find and they can't grow anymore, and that's why it's much more delicious. It doesn't matter. I still think, banana popsicle, banana Laffy Taffy, banana runts, banana pudding, just about anything artificially flavored banana is better than an actual banana. So it is Memorial Day weekend. I want to talk a little bit about that and get into all the people. I'm a big fan of, as you know, of service, the people that have chosen to serve our country, and it's a great weekend for them to remember that. But we do have some news stories here to catch up on. Yeah, and I'm going to fly right in the face of danger because I'm going to say this isn't a news story per se, as much as this is a crime story. So I could probably skirt this one here, but I think we all know Packers running back Josh Jacobs in a little bit of trouble. He's booked into Brown County Arena. No, he's into Brown County Jail. Did not go to the arena. Besides, it's the Resch Center now. Turned himself in, but 5 charges. 4 misdemeanors, battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. Not looking good on the misdemeanor thing. I'd like to know how you come up with battery, domestic abuse, and intimidation of a victim. I'd like to see how you can justify that's only a misdemeanor. That's a slap on the wrist. I tend not to agree. But they also has 1 felony charge of strangulation and suffocation. Yeah, that's a big one. Now, he turned himself in, and it happened over Memorial Day weekend. Jacobs denies the allegations as well, and I think we cannot be quick to judge. We cannot be quick to you can't be convicted in the court of public opinion. So it's early on in the investigation. So we've got to take a wait and see attitude. Now, I think more often than not, as of late, players have been exonerated when you've let everything play out, and jumping into the court of public opinion and onto that jury pool is a little bit, it's a little bit sketchy if you do that. It's a slippery slope. But the NFL and the Packers, I love how they respond to this, and it happens the same way all the time. It's like, yeah, we are aware of the matter. However, it is a criminal investigation, and we do not comment on those. And, until the legal has run its course, we shall refrain from comment, which is a smart move, if you think about it, to do something like that. But the one that's disturbing is the strangulation and suffocation. Ouch. What do you do there? Strangulation and suffocation. Let's hope it's not true. But as a rule of thumb, don't hit people. Basically, I know you're just crawling with testosterone out there, and these guys are all jacked up, but just don't hit people. Male or female. Try not. Well, and in this case, strangulation. It's not a good move. And it's going to get you in trouble every time. It leaves marks. So strangulation if you get to that point, you got to use a little restraint. That's all I'm saying. But we'll let that play out. I would say this is going to be a sports comment, but it's not. It's this is more of a, I guess you could say, commerce issue. But the Knicks are going to go to the NBA Finals. They swept the Cavaliers. The Knicks haven't been there. They haven't won the championship since 1973. So the Knicks going to the NBA Finals means we're going to get a lot of shots of Spike Lee. And we're also going to get some shots of Timothy Chalamet and which Jenner? Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner. There's a couple of Jenners, and there's a Kardashian, and there's a Khloe, and I don't know. But I think it's Kylie Jenner that dates Timothy Chalamet. So that will be the big celebrities eye on the celebrities to watch. But they said they released the ticket prices to go to Madison Square Garden, and Madison Square Garden is not. It's the Garden, you know. It's not like the most, I guess you could say, up to date arena, but it's the Garden, man. To go see something in the Garden. I'm bumming I missed Billy Joel in the Garden. That would be one you would have to see. Sinatra when he played the Garden. Sinatra in the Garden would be a good one to see. Any of those New York acts, but. They have the get-in prices for Game 3 and Game 4. Those will be the first two games played at Madison Square Garden. The get-in-the-door price is going to be $3,500. There are no seats in the bottom tank listed for under $6,000. And the courtside seats, and this is where you're going to see Spike Lee and Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner or Kendall Jenner, I don't know. $100,000, $100,000 for those seats. Now, this is what I find a little bit interesting, and this was taken. You got to watch out if you're a celebrity, you're going to get caught on camera. But we're going to be looking at Timothy Chalamet and whatever Jenner it is. And here's a shot from a game where they're courtside, and lo and behold, watch what happens. There we go. Yep, that's it. There she is. Yep, Kylie Kendall Jenner, whatever the hell her name is, sneaking vodka into the game, sitting in $100,000 seats and sneaking some vodka into the game. But you know what? Come on, man. You go to Fiserv. It's like if you want to do anything with big liquor, it's $19. It's like then they turn the screen around. This is just going to ask you a few questions. No, you're begging for a tip. It's not. I'm not going to answer a few questions. Zero. That's what I'm answering. Do they realize, these companies realize that they probably give more tips if they weren't forcing the tip? I can tell you that my behavior, I usually give 20% and I'll look for 20%. But if I'm seeing it's starting at like 25 and then going up to 50%, and apparently there have been those machines that are programmed as 100% tip. It's 100% tip. Are you freaking kidding me? Why would I pay twice as much for my entire meal to help you out? And I realize that you're on tip wage, but I'm not giving 100%. But the higher those numbers go, the less inclined I am to tip and put in another, especially if it's marginal. But I usually stick at, if service is marginal, but I usually stick at 20%. That is my rule of thumb of 20% for tips. But it does get expensive for $20 per cocktail. And I don't care if you are paying $100,000 per seat, you're going to sneak a little something in. If only for the fact that you wouldn't have to get up and go, you wouldn't have to get up and go to a stand. And then you're always walking around looking for the big liquor thing. It's not there. You can get beer anywhere, but if you want big liquor, who knows where that's going? and you're walking in circles, and then you're getting stopped. Hey, aren't you Timothy Chalamet? And I explained to me the fucking movie with ping pong and why that was, I don't know. Anywho, and this will be other sports news, but this one will be sports news. But excuse me, it's a sport very few people care about. And so I probably can't get in trouble for this. Well, I shouldn't say very few people care about it. A lot of people care about it. And I suppose I will care about it. But the World Cup is coming up. It's like sneaking up on us, like 14 days. That shows you what how we feel about the World Cup. Because that's in like 14 days it starts. And we're like, oh, okay. And it's here in the United States and Canada and Mexico. It's like, oh, yeah, whatever. But the USA announced their soccer roster. Now, I'm not going to go down the list of everyone who's on the team because, quite frankly, I don't know any of them. Apparently, there were some snubs. Feel bad for you. They must have had their reasons. But they released the soccer roster, and I was listening to a news story about this, and I will tell you right now, you might as well just stick a fork in the U.S. And why? Because they're 14 days out. 14 days out from playing their first game in the World Cup tournament, and they just named the roster. And tomorrow is their first workout together. Okay, you've got these national teams, your Brazils and your Argentinas and these, I don't know if they play together all year long, if they go professionally and come back, but I think you have to have more than 14 days together to get a chemistry going and an understanding of where people are on the field at any given time. But hey, I might be wrong because I don't know anything about soccer, so I very well could be wrong. I don't know, but I will watch the World Cup when it is convenient. I think one of the things I love about the World Cup is like anytime you get one of those games where you have two countries that are actually playing each other and they're at war. Those are good. Those are always good matches because you've got that overarching or the underlying storyline of a war and a war-ravaged country that is there, but yet soccer brings them together. So the other thing coming up, and this one, when I saw this, I am into these court cases, okay? And this one is a former JP Morgan banker. And I'm going to have some visuals on this. Guy's name is Chireyu Rana. He filed a lawsuit against a 37-year-old JP Morgan executive director, and her name is Laura Hedini. She's 37 years old. Now, this guy filed a lawsuit against her, saying that she drugged him with Rohypnol and Viagra, coerced him into non-consensual sex acts, and then threatened to cut his bonus unless he agreed to be her quote-unquote sex slave. Okay. That I find interesting, that just knowing how misogynistic guys are, and you kind of have to go, if someone offered, now I'm happily married, but let's say before I was married, if someone threw down the sex slave gauntlet at me in my middle 30s, I'd entertain it. Who am I to say no? But JP Morgan is standing behind the woman because they said they conducted their own investigation and they could not find anything. Now, so the woman, Hedini, she sued for defamation of character. So she filed a lawsuit. So we get these connecting lawsuits. And it was the woman's legal team who said this Rana guy has done this before, where he's raised misconduct accusations against a supervisor, right, at a previous employer. So, and then he also lied about a couple of other things. He sought about $20 million in a settlement, and they said no. JP Morgan offered him $1 million, and he said no. And now, hours before this was going to go to court, before a court appearance yesterday, hours before, Sharayu Rana's, I guess you could say the plaintiff, this guy, his attorney resigns and says, I'm out, and leaves the guy suing the JP Morgan executive left to defend himself or to serve as his own attorney. This is like hours before. So where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So if that attorney walked, there's got to be an ethical thing there, especially with, and which is odd when you hear attorneys in ethics, especially in lawsuits. But this Kaiser guy also represented Epstein victims, the accuser. So he's been in these, nefarious, salacious type cases before. And so he said, nah, I'm out. I am out as a manager. Now I want to show you something. And this is why I'm going to side with the woman. I'm going to side with Laura Hadini. And here's a picture of her, okay, as an executive. There she is, woman power. Okay, she's up there on the desk, just strutting her stuff, if you will. And she's an attractive woman. As you can see, she's got the breastises pushed up out there, kind of her bosom heaving out of the low-cut shirt, if you will. And you know what? She's a little bottom heavy, okay, a little plump down there. But, guys like that now. But she's a little hippie. Okay. I am not saying that she's not attractive or anything. I'm just saying, or not, hittable. I'm just saying, she's a little hippie. Okay. She got, a little wide in the hips, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Okay. So the guy, so she's attractive. Okay. She really is attractive. Now, this guy, she is the person, the aggressor, if you will. Gave this other guy Rohypnol and Viagra, coerced him into non-consensual sex acts. Now let's take a look. Kind of cute, right? Not bad. A little hippie, but kind of cute. And 37 woman, New York, powerful, heaving bosoms. She doesn't need to go to get a sex slave, right? I would think, in fact, I would say most women don't have to find a sex slave. I think probably getting laid as a woman has got to be the easiest thing in the world. Because all you have to go, hey, do you want to? And you'll find someone. But attractive woman. And here we go. And here's the guy. Are you ready? Are you ready? Boom. That's the guy right there. That is the guy that he is saying Rohypnol and Viagra. This is the guy that she said, I want him to be my sex slave. No, she didn't. She did not. You are wrong. There is no way. I don't care. Yeah, she's a little hippie. Okay, maybe. But there is no way. There's no way she went after that guy and said, I want you to be my sex slave. That did not happen. I will be reporting on this as we continue. But I'm telling you, there's no way in hell. There is no way in hell. Now, Okay. Memorial Day weekend. Excuse me. Memorial Day weekend, the official kickoff of summer. But a lot of times we forget about what Memorial Day is all about. And it's about remembering the people in our military who served and protected us. I do honestly believe that, and I wish I could have done this in class, but I do honestly believe that kids today should require reading instead of some sort of a, culturally relevant, I guess you could say, diversity, inclusion type stuff that they're putting into schools now. I think that what should be required reading is The Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw. And maybe these kids will get an appreciation for what is going on and what their grandparents had to go through, and what it meant to serve your country. And here's something that just totally, and I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but this pisses me off like there's no tomorrow. And it's not because I had a nephew who went into the military. But if you look at the situation, I have taught college kids. Some of them are exceptionally smart, right? A lot of them shouldn't be there. They're there because someone said they have to go to college to be successful, which isn't true. But nonetheless, it's the attitude, and it's not the attitude of students. I guess it's almost like the attitude of adults, where their immediate reaction or their immediate default when they hear that someone's kid is going into the military and it's not a service academy is, oh, they must not have been able to get into college. Like, going into the military is like a step below. And it's like, oh, I don't think so. And when you think about it, these kids that decide to go into the military, and I'm sure there are some that have run out of options and they don't have anything else that they could do. But, the people that are going to the military have made a choice that to defend the country, right? They have made a choice to join the American forces. They believe in the country, right? And then I look at college kids and I'm going, you know what? 80% of you would not be able to handle a week in the military. I'm sure that you would not be able to handle a week in the military. There's no way you're going through basic and getting out on the other end with the excuses that I get because they can't get an assignment in. And I will take, you have kids that's starting out at 18 and they may be working with some of the most advanced computer equipment, and logistical and tactical gear on the planet. And, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, they're working with this hands-on. And meanwhile, you got a guy who's playing beer pong in the basement of the Phi Sig house. It's like, I'm taking the guy 100% of the time. I'm taking the guy who's in the military, right? So we should be thankful and we should be grateful. I know, as annoying as it is, every time I walk by and now they're giving out the poppies for the vets, I always give money and give them a couple of bucks, for God's sakes. Is it going to kill you? And because what they did could have killed them, but they are, a little bit of stuff to help the veterans. It's like, and the United States is not really great with the way they treat the veterans either. We have a track record of not being very kind to them. But one thing is that this attitude that somehow they're not, people in the military are not as good as, people that go to college, and it's out there. And I think it's bullshit. And it makes me very angry. I was in Sky Harbor Airport when an honor flight landed. And if you've ever had the chance to see an honor flight, land. It is one of the most moving experiences that you'll ever have a chance to witness in your life. And you're just thankful when you see these guys, and to think of what they had to endure. It goes back to the greatest generation. I look at the way some of the people whine, and hey, don't get me wrong. I think as we're generations once removed, we're not as tough as the generation before, and I can guarantee you that I'm not nearly as tough as my dad was. My dad was a tough guy, and I'm not as tough as he was. And kind of generation after generation. I don't know if it's because years ago they had to fend for themselves more. It might have been something like that, but you had to be tough. And when you hear the stories of these, when you watch the war movies, and I'm going to get into that a little bit, but when you watch the war movies and you see these kids barreling out of these transports, these let's say in the D-Day invasion, think about that. Those kids, that was 18, 19 years old. 18 and 19 years old. Think of an 18-year-old in your life and put them into that situation, and it's mind-boggling to think that's what they did. And then there were kids at the age of 16, 17 that were lying because they wanted to get into the war effort and support it. I just wish we had a little bit more of that. Somewhere along the line, it became uncool to be patriotic, and I don't know where that is, but where that came from. But it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. And I think you should be proud of where you're from, right? Like, we're supposed to respect, and we do. I respect other people, but we have to respect other people's countries. Yet the people that are telling us that we have to respect people from other countries and their culture are disrespecting ours. And there's a disconnect. I just have a huge disconnect there, but I'm not going to dive into that right now, but it's bothersome. But of course, Memorial Day, how do we celebrate it? We celebrate it by drinking, eating barbecue, and going to local parades, which are awesome. The local parades, where else can you see an assemblyman throwing Tootsie Rolls at kids? I don't get the parade thing. I don't get the local parade. And I understand, the community comes together and do stuff. Well, we went to O'Donoghue's in Elm Grove. And the Elm Grove parade is pretty big. And it's a big deal. We had to park blocks and blocks and blocks away. And as I've said, my wife and I are elbows on the bar people, right? We like to sit at a bar. We don't like to sit at tables. And we like to, belly up. Well, as we're walking over and I saw everybody lining up, I said to my wife, and now O'Donoghue's has limited bar seating. There may be 25 seats. So, man, to get bar seats there, you got to be lucky. So I said to Sue, I go, you know what? I wonder if everyone piles out of O'Donoghue's to go out and watch, 4 fire trucks, a garbage truck, and the dancing grannies walk by, I bet you we could get bar seats. I bet you that bar will open up like no tomorrow. And we were meeting some friends there who were going to go out and watch the parade. And we got there, we walked in, and I'll be damned if there aren't bar seats there. Boom, we are on it. And I looked at Sue and I go, you want to go out and watch the parade? She goes, no, we got bar seats, for Christ's sake. No, we're not going to go out and watch the parade. And if we turn to our left, there was a big window. And we couldn't see anything except the back of the heads, but that's all we really cared about. Oh, there goes something. Something went by. Who's that? Oh, and I guess that Tom Tiffany. You betcha. Yeah, he was in the parade. And you know what? As we move forward to this, I think I might. I think I'm going to mount my own gubernatorial campaign because these guys are just morons. But that's a story for another day. But the local parade, not that big of a deal. Although local parade is good if you get bar seats. That's what I'm saying. But the one thing that's great, and I can do this over and over and over again. is when Memorial Day rolls around or Veterans Day. That's when you get the good war movies on the History Channel or on Turner Classic Movies. And one of the highlights, one of the things that I love, and it's one of my favorite miniseries, is Band of Brothers. It is so good. Now, they did one called The Pacific, which was like the equivalent to that. And it really wasn't quite as good as Band of Brothers. And I don't know, for something when it comes to World War II, the European theater always just seemed to be a little bit more interesting. And although I never really studied or got into the Pacific side of things, or certainly not Northern Africa or the Western front, it was mostly, most Americans, I'm sure, are more versed in the Eastern European battles in France and all of that. But Band of Brothers is fantastic. And it's one of my favorites. And it's one of those that if they're running the whole marathon of all 10 episodes, you can jump in at any given time and boom, you pick it up like that. But when you look at the people that were in Band of Brothers, and it's the people that went on to be stars. And now David Schwimmer, I thought when he got that role after being Ross on Friends, I'm like, this isn't going to work at all. But as what was this, Commander Hobart? Damn, he did a pretty good job. It was pretty convincing. But we also saw Ron Livingston, who, of course, from Office Space. He had a really big role in that. And if you really want to see something good with Ron Livingston in it, Loudermilk on Amazon Prime. One of the funniest, dry, well-written, acerbic, satirical, funny, grown-up comedies. Very intelligently written. And Ron Livingston is in that, and very, very good. Damian Lewis, who went on to Homeland, that was probably his first breakout role, and he did Homeland, and then he went on to do Billions, which he's one of those guys that the only time you've ever seen him is in films where he's American or TV shows where he's American, and he's British. And that always blows my mind. So he would be one who's got a British accent. Christian Bale is another one who's got an accent that you never know. And then Hugh Laurie. When I found out that Dr. House, I don't know if he's Australian or British or whatever, it doesn't matter. When I heard him talk like on a talk show, I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's the same thing with Damian Lewis. It's like, why are you doing an accent? But British guys can always do American accents better than Americans can do British accents. So I don't know if that makes them better actors. They're just capable of doing it. But definitely Band of Brothers. So I got sucked into that the other night, and which is fine with me. But in honor of Memorial Day, what I thought I would do is I am going to run down my top 5 favorite, not the top 5 best. These are my top 5 favorite war movies. Okay. Some are new, some are old. And I guarantee you number one is one you would not expect. Okay. You would not expect number one. And I'd like you to weigh in the comments below what your favorite war movie is. Now, not making the list, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, not making the list. Okay, those are not in my top 5 favorite. Full Metal Jacket for me, after F. Lee Ermey gets killed by Private Pile, kind of runs out of gas for me. Everything that happened after that, it seemed to drag. But that's just me. So coming in at number 5. Are you ready? Coming in at number 5. Boom. Stripes. Yeah, I know that you are going to say this is not a war movie, and it's not. It wasn't even during wartime, and it's a comedy. But um, Stripes is, I think, it's one of the funniest movies. You got your Sergeant Hulka, right? You got the Big Toe, and of course Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Ox, Dewey Oxenberg, right? What do you got here? 6-week program, which is perfect for me. I grew up, I swallowed a lot of aggression along with a lot of pizzas. You got Lighten Up Francis. Any of you touch my stuff, I'll kill you. And don't be calling me Francis. I'm psycho. Anyone calls me Francis, and I'll kill you. It's just and Judge Reinhold is in it. John Larroquette, Sean Young, PJ. What's the other one? The chick, Sean Young, and then the other one, the blonde one, and General Barnaky, with the spatula. Ooh, it's like fantastic. It's very funny, and of course, anyone around here knows. What? Czechoslovakia, we zip in, we zip out. It's like going into Wisconsin. Hey, I got beat up in Wisconsin. See, it's a great movie because you can remember all the great quotes. Coming in at number 4 for me. And number 4 is, let's see here. Do I have that one up? No, I do not. I'm going to put it up for you right now. Coming in at number 4 is, where's my photo? Yeah, screw it. Here, we'll put this up here. Okay, coming in at number 4 is The Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is awesome. Without a doubt. Dirty Dozen. I mean, if you want to, this is back in these movies when they had badasses. These guys were total freaking badasses. Right? Man, look at that. You got Lee Marvin right there. You got Lee Marvin, badass. I don't think we don't have badasses like this in the movies anymore. I mean, when you look at it and go, Stallone, badass. I guess you could say Stallone is a badass, right? Schwarzenegger, a badass. Yeah, I guess you could say Schwarzenegger is a badass, but he's not a badass like freaking Charles Bronson. Charles fucking Bronson, man, that is a badass. That is a guy you just knew you didn't want to mess with. Kojak, Telly Savalas. Telly Savalas is in this. Ernest Borgnine. Everyone thinks of him as, McHale's Navy or something. Badass, though. John Cassavetes, badass. Jim Brown, arguably one of the best running backs of all time. Badass. Total badass. Donald Sutherland, yeah, he could be a badass. And then you get Trini Lopez. I don't know why, not a badass, but he's in there. But I can't give him the badass moniker. But come on, Charles Bronson, does it get any more badass than that? So The Dirty Dozen is a great movie where they have to go in and they have to do a behind the lines rescue. And these guys are all the most, they're ne'er-do-wells. They're all up for court-martialing, and they circle them together, and they go for the greater good, I guess you could say, of America. And so they use their criminal element to become heroes. Coming in then at number 3, come on, dude, man, John Wayne, The Longest Day. Of course, the D-Day, it's the longest movie too. It's longer than All Get Out. But John Wayne, again, badass, right? It's how can you do? Yeah, it's a great acting. Not necessarily the greatest acting in the world, but you've got in The Longest Day, you got Henry Fonda, Sean Connery. Can't get much more badass than Sean Connery, can you? Robert Mitchum, badass. Then you get George Segal, not so much. Let's see, Paul Anka. I don't know. No, Eddie Albert. No, not Mr. Douglas from Green Acres. Not really. Richard Burton. Yeah, he can be kind of a badass, bitter lover, but I guess, well, not that I would ever know, but I mean, he's more as a romance guy, known as a romantic hero, much more than badass. But Robert Mitchum, man, just go and like watch the original Cape Fear. That guy's a freaking badass. And of course, John Wayne. How can you not have John Wayne in a war movie? You have to have John Wayne in a war movie. Coming in at number 2, and this is what inspired Band of Brothers, is Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan, excuse me, is one of those. Sorry about that. Saving Private Ryan is one of those movies that it's a scroll stopper, right? You will you'll be watching TV and go, "What's on?" It might be a Sunday afternoon. You will scrolling around, and then TNT or AMC or one of those, or Bravo, I don't know what, will have a Saving Private Ryan marathon going on. And when they do, that's, again, it's another one that you can just drop in at any given time. And I think that the opening sequence in Saving Private Ryan, when they stormed the beach at Normandy, probably one of the most realistic war sequences in movies without being fake. Looking real fake or corny or cheesy. Pretty solid there. Now, and my number 1 movie, and I'm going to give you 3 quotes from this. My number 1 favorite movie, best war movie ever, is Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now with Martin Sheen and Martin Sheen, Marlon Brando, Dennis Hopper. Just lost his name. The guy was Tom Hagen, and why am I? He just died. Why am I looking at this? Oh Jesus! Why can I not think of his name? This is driving me crazy. But he played. Why do I not remember that? Because I'm getting old. Apocalypse Now. Let's see the cat. Let's. What the hell? And he was only supposed to be in there for a little bit, and he ended up being in probably the best role of all of those. But there's a lot of guys in that one too. Scott Glenn is in that one, like Brando. Harrison Ford is in it. But what the hell? Why am I losing that? Why am I totally spacing that name? Dear God. Why is it not? It's driving me crazy. Robert Duvall. Jesus H. Christ. It's Robert Duvall. That drove me nuts. Robert Duvall is so good in everything he does. Of course, The Godfather. Great Santini is another great movie that's kind of military adjacent that he is so good in. But everyone knows him as the I love the smell of napalm in the morning. And he was only in for those 2 scenes, but a couple scenes, but he stole the movie. And he stole the movie with my 2 favorite lines. Like I said, we'll start with everybody. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. That's the one that everyone knows. But the great part is afterwards. Okay? At the end. And this is so kick-ass what he does.
Smell! That gasoline smell! A whole hill! Smells like victory.
He's looking around like he's looking around like he loves being there. I love that last line. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped on it. We'll play this again for you because it's that good. But there's two things that he does in this scene is he's sitting there, and they always have this guy that does this in every war movie, right? He's the old salty guy. Everyone else is scared shitless, and he's standing up and walking through all the crossfire. He's not afraid of anything, and that's what he does here. Colonel, I'm trying to think of his name. Doesn't matter. But you can tell as he's sitting there, it's like he just loves being at war. And the way he does it so subtly, and especially at the end, the two lines. One is, "It smells like victory." But watch at the end when he says, "One day this war will be over."
Smell. You know that gasoline smell? A whole hill. Smells like victory. Someday this war's gonna end.
Okay, that is just amazing. That last thing. What he goes, "Someday this war is going to end." And he says it in a way like it's going to be the worst day in the world for him. So someday this war is going to end. So enjoy it while you can, boys. And Martin Sheen is just looking at him like he's freaking crazy. Yeah, one of these days, this war is going to end. And you're waiting for, and blah, 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 blah. No, it's just, I'm disappointed. But what I happen to think is his best line is in the movie is right here.
Mike, you know anything about this point at Vinzen drop?
That's a fantastic peak.
Peak?
About 6 foot. That's an outstanding peak. It's got both a long right and left slide with a bowl section. It's unbelievable. It's just Tube City.
Well, why didn't you tell me that before a good peak? There aren't any good peaks in this whole shitty country. It's all goddamn beach break.
It's really hairy in there, sir. That's where we lost McDonald. They shot the hell out of us there.
Hell, a 6 foot peak. All right, take a gunship back to the division. Blanche, go with Mike, let him pick out a board for you, and bring me my Yater spoon, the 8-6.
I don't know, sir. It's
What is it, soldier?
Well, I mean, it's pretty hairy in there. It's Charlie's point.
Charlie don't surf.
Charlie don't surf. It's unbelievable. They're going into on this top secret mission have to go through the delta of a river that is surrounded by the enemy, and he says, "Charlie don't surf." That's all he cares about. I don't know anything about surfing, and it took me a while at the very end when he goes, "Go get this and this and this and this," and he's yelling out types of surfboards and not types of weapons. And the last one is Marlon Brando, who was in this movie. Now, I had read something that he had his lines fed to him. He didn't even learn his lines. They were putting it into his ear as he was doing this. Now, Apocalypse Now came out in 1979, and that's when I worked at a drive-in theater. And so we were running at one, I don't know how many weekends in a row, and I had to change the reels. It was so long that just the credits was one reel, which was about 18 minutes. But that's neither here nor there. But this line is, I've used this line to reference people that I guess think that they're more important than they actually are. I don't know, like, bosses that make bad decisions, but they go right along with what the upper level people say because they're just ass kissers, basically. And this sums up those type of people. Not that I would know any of them. I guess you could say recent history. But this is Marlon Brando with one of the best descriptions.
Are you an assassin? a soldier. You're neither. You're an errand boy. Sent by grocery clerks. To collect the bill.
Ooh, chilling. Right? And I bet you've worked for someone like that who doesn't deserve to be in the position that they're in, who's out over their skis and just kisses ass all day long and then tries to play tough with you. And it's like, listen, man, you're an errand boy sent by grocery clerks. But like I said, I've known a few of those people. But those are my top movies for Memorial Day, my top 5 war movies. And again, we'll run down that list. It starts out with Stripes, okay, and then The Dirty Dozen, The Longest Day, Saving Private Ryan, and last is Apocalypse Now. And I don't know. I mean, little hippie. But nonetheless, that brings us to it's 4:20, even though it's not. It's 4:20. What are you high?
It's 4:20, what are you high? It's 4:20, what are you high? If you're not, you're just fucking stupid because it sure seems like you're high.
All right, at 4:20, what are you high? This guy, I know everyone says, why does this all happen in Florida? But it happens in Florida all the time. Well, a 79-year-old man by the name of Tyrone James Causey of Hollywood, Florida, was arrested after neighbors at his apartment complex became increasingly concerned and frustrated with his behavior. Apparently, he strolls through the common areas wearing nothing but a G-string thong and making lewd gestures. Okay, let's take a look at Mr. James Causey, Tyrone James. There he is. There's Tyrone James, 80 years old, 79, walking around in a G-string thong. Making lewd gestures. He had an argument, though. When police showed up, he answered his door in his thong and cited Florida Statute 800.001, claiming it's only illegal to be naked in parks, not in public. So technically, he was in the clear. Well, now this is where he kind of got into a little bit of trouble because the cop that responded was a female. And then what he started doing was he put on lipstick, began touching himself, and told her to jump rope for me, baby doll. Yeah, this did not help his legal argument. So, okay, you're watching this guy. All of a sudden, he's in a G-string. He puts on lipstick and says to the female cop, jump rope for me, baby doll. They tracked down 5 separate neighbors who all witnessed this guy exposing himself. One neighbor who has it on a Ring camera where he thrust his genitals at the woman's Ring camera. So 5 counts of indecent exposure. But he had been arrested in 1987 and then of the same thing. But I mean, he's kept it under wraps, I guess, since 87. So that's what, almost 40 years. So late 30s, waits until he's almost 80 to get it out of the bag, if you will. Why not? But this is what I love. There he is, 79-year-old Tyrone James Causey. And what do you think of when you see him? That's what I think of. It's like, yeah, there are aliens among us, and this guy is one of them, man. This guy, it's like he's got that Nosferatu, old-time 1930s vampire look with the big round head and the pointy ears, right? But to Mr. Causey, at the age of 79 years old, walking around in a G-string, all I can say to you is, what are you, high? Okay, play the song. Okay, let's see that again. What are you, high?
It's 4:20, what are you high? It's 4:20, what are you high? If you're not, you're just fucking stupid because it sure seems like you're high.
And that's the show for the day. I will be back tomorrow. and we've been one day closer to Liberation Day. And I'll give you some more details about the new show that is coming up. Like I said, June 18th looks like it could be the very first day. Corresponds with the first day of Summerfest. Huh. How about that? But anyway, that is the show for today. And until I see you tomorrow, once again, I say, make good choices.
And that's it for this episode of KB's Unemployed Show. If you want to follow me on my unemployed journey, just subscribe to my channel below or dive into one of the playlists for all my unemployed action.